All right. Good afternoon, everybody. I think I'm going to get started here. So I wanted to first welcome you to our Lunch and Learn webinar. Thank you all for being here this afternoon. Today's Lunch and Learn webinar is going to be about the Temporary Annuity Option, or the TAO for short. My name is Jared Wong. I'm the Communications Analyst for FCERA, and I'm happy to be here with you today to kind of give you some retirement education. So as I mentioned a couple minutes ago, I'm going to be going over this presentation I have for you guys today for about the next 20-30 minutes, give or take. And then the remaining part of this lunch hour will be for any questions that you have. So if you have any questions, feel free to use that Q&A box there and throw a question in, and I will get to as many as I can. If I can't answer your question today, I will get an answer for you and I will reach back out to you. So also, if you have any questions that you may want to ask personally, more discreetly, or you just think of a question later on, you can send us an email at FCERA@FresnoCountyCA.gov, and we will get that answered to you as well. So without further ado, let's get started. So the agenda for today. So if you've been to one of these Lunch and Learn webinars before, these webinars are centrically based during the lunch hour, and it goes over one specific retirement topic. So today's topic is about the temporary annuity option, which is something that's optional that you can select for your retirement benefit if you are under the age of 62. So what we're going to cover today, I'm going to kind of give you a brief overview again of what your retirement benefit is, how that's factored in, and then we're really just going to get into what the actual TAO is. So what it is, how does it work? I have an example built into the presentation for you, along with a little bit of break-even analysis of like what to consider before, if you're thinking about selecting this TAO for to go alongside with your retirement benefit. Choosing the best retirement dates, and kind of plugging our FCERA member portal as well. So the first thing, defined benefit plan, which is your retirement. So your retirement that you get from us, from FCERA. So your retirement you get is a defined benefit plan. And if you're unfamiliar with that really what a defined benefit plan is, it's a lifetime benefit to you. So meaning that when you meet the retirement eligibility requirements, you will get a payment from us every month for the rest of your life. Now, how we calculate your benefit is based off of specific factors. So the factors that we look at when we calculate your monthly lifetime benefit are tier and membership classification. And then we look at these three more factors specifically. So we look at your age of retirement, we look at the years of service that you have working under FCERA membership, or what we call service credit, and then salary, final compensation. We look at those three factors to determine what you will get every month for the rest of your life. And last week's webinar, I went over benefit options. So depending on the option that you do select, that will impact what your beneficiary potentially could receive in the case of your death. And to get any type of lifetime benefit from FCERA, you do need to be vested in the plan. Now, to be vested in the plan, you need to have at least 5 years of service. So, okay, so now that we got that out of the way, you know what a defined benefit plan is, and I would imagine a lot of you do because you're tuning in. I've gotten a lot of feedback, and I really appreciate you guys letting me know that you like these Lunch and Learn webinars. So let's get into the meat and potatoes of today, the temporary annuity option, or the TAO for short. So usually when we say TAO, we don't really, TAO is what we usually go by here in the office. We do say temporary annuity option. It's the same thing. So you've probably heard about this from members saying, hey, I took this, FCERA's giving me extra money at retirement. Well, yes and no. So this is what the TAO really is. The temporary annuity option is an advance. So think of it as like it's an advance, or you're borrowing a portion of your future estimated Social Security benefit. So this TAO, or this option that is optional alongside whatever retirement benefit option that you select when you're going through the process of retirement, is only available to members under the age of 62. So anyone that's under the age of 62, when you come into a counseling session with a retirement specialist, They will go over the temporary annuity option with you, and they will explain it to you and see if you are, if you are interested in pursuing that. So, but that is only, like I mentioned, that is only for members that are under the age of 62. So, hold on one second, guys. I am getting, okay, so I'm just curious, and if anybody can write this down, put this in the Q&A box for me for any, just to verify. You guys can hear me. Everything looks good. You guys, audio is all good for you guys. You guys can hear me in my presentation. I just want to make sure you guys can hear me before I keep going on. So let's see here. So if you wouldn't mind, just if anybody wouldn't mind just putting that in the Q&A box, letting me know that the audio is good, then, I'm going to keep going for the rest of this slide here, and then we'll make adjustments if we need to. Okay, so like I mentioned, the TAO is based off of anyone that is under the age of 62. You have this option when you come into the office and speak to a specialist. Okay, awesome. Thank you, guys. I appreciate that feedback. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Okay, so let's kind of go back to the top here where it says advance a portion of your Social Security benefit. So when you're going through the process of retiring and you're under the age of 62 and you're potentially looking at taking this TAO option, what this does is we ask you for an estimate of your Social Security benefit at age 62. When you come into the office and you provide us that estimate of your Social Security benefit, we plug that into our pension software and we give you a portion of an advancement of that benefit, of that Social Security benefit that you gave us. And you would get that advancement every month until you turn the age of 62. Then at the age of 62, you will then have your FCERA benefit. So we're not talking about anything Social Security, like your actual Social Security benefit that you receive from them. We're only speaking of your FCERA benefit, your retirement benefit from us. Starting on your 62nd birthday, your FCERA allowance will be decreased, not by that advancement that you were receiving every month for that TAO, but by your full Social Security estimated benefit that you provided to us when you retired. And don't worry, I'm going to give you guys an example after this one slide here to kind of show you how this works to maybe get a better understanding of this. So yes, so at age 62, we decrease your FCERA benefit by your full estimated Social Security benefit, and that deduction lasts for the rest of your life. Now, if you are in an eligible tier, so tiers 1 through 3, and you receive a cost of living adjustment each year, and you decide to elect to take the temporary annuity option, well, you do receive cost of living on those TAO advancements. Well, also what that means is at age 62, we also take back those TAO advancements or those COLA or cost of living adjustments you receive on those TAO advancements for the rest of your life as well. So then after that deduction happens, normally what someone does that in this situation is they go to Social Security and they draw their Social Security benefit at 62. Now, assuming that Social Security benefit that you draw at 62 matches up with the estimate that you provided to us years prior, then your income is not going to change. It's going to level out your retirement income. So, and as I mentioned, I have an example after this, so I'm going to show you how this all works. This taking the temporary annuity option does not affect Social Security benefits in the future. It does not affect your survivor continuance either. So, for example, one of the options that we select that you have is the unmodified option. I'm sorry, I'm having a blank here. So you have the unmodified option. The unmodified option leaves a 60% lifetime continuance to an eligible beneficiary. So if you were to select that unmodified option and want to select the TAO, it would not affect that 60% continuance to that eligible beneficiary. That percentage would still stay the same, and it would be based off your base benefit. And then finally, the temporary annuity option like I mentioned, this is optional. This is something that will be asked to you if you are under the age of 62 and you come into our office to process your retirement. This is only available for service retirements. If you're going through a disability retirement claim, the temporary annuity option is not available to you. Okay? So now that I kind of give you little cliff notes of kind of what this is about, really, I'm going to give you an example in the next few slides of actually how this works. Okay, so let's say we have a general member at age 55, okay? So let's say they come in and they're wanting to retire and they're looking at taking the temporary annuity option. So let's say they provide us a Social Security estimate of $1,237. So we take that estimate that is provided to us, then we place that into our system using a modification factor by our actuary, which in this example is 0.4913. And I just want to disclose as well, all these numbers here are fictitious. So don't hold any of these factors or numbers that you see as true. These are all just fictitious numbers. This is just to set the example. So let's just say that our factor that we have from our actuary is 0.4913. That means then we take that and multiply that by the 1237, and we get an advancement of $608 per month for this member if they want to take the temporary annuity option. So your pension with the temporary annuity option, or the TAO. So let's say this member, their base retirement is $2,850 per month before taking the TAO. So let's say that this person takes the TAO. So we add that $608 advancement that we saw on the previous page right there. So we take that, we add that together. So this member in this example's total pension payable each month until up until age 62 is $3,458. Now, as I mentioned, if someone takes the TAO, well, this only goes up until you turn age 62. Now, once you turn age 62, as in this example here, we reduce your FCERA benefit. So we reduce your benefit that you get from us, not by that $608 that we advanced you, but by that full $1,237 estimate that this member in this example provided at the time that they were going through retirement. So as you can see on the screen there, we subtract that Social Security reduction of $1,237. So now going forward at age 62 for the rest of this member's life, their FCERA benefit is $2,221. Now let's say that this member ends up going to Social Security at the same time of their 62nd birthday and starts drawing their benefit. Let's say then their estimate from Social Security that they got at age 55 holds up and they're drawing the same as their estimate of $1,237. So in hindsight, if you look at that by adding that plus your newly reduced FCERA pension in this example, the combined pensions at age 62 going forward for the rest of your life is the same of $3,458. Okay? So just by taking this example, this person at 55 took the temporary annuity option, got an advancement of $608 every month for about 7 years, from 55 to 62. They were making almost $3,500 a month. Once they turned 62, they reduce your benefit. We reduce it by that full Social Security estimate that you provided. And if your Social Security distribution at 62 matches your estimate, you're not losing any money. Your income stays consistent. Now, if someone were to take their regular pension without even considering the TAO, it goes without saying you're going to have more disposable income later on in your life. So look at this, for example. So we take the same number as the previous slide. This member's base retirement is $2,850. Now let's say they don't take the TAO, so they don't have an advancement, they don't have a reduction for the rest of their life, but they draw their Social Security at age 62. Okay, by doing so then, we just add the $1,237 that they get, and now their total monthly income at age 62 going forward is $4,087. So just by not taking the TAO, they have more disposable income. Okay, so now that I've kind of showed two different examples of someone taking the TAO, how that is broken down, and then someone that doesn't take the TAO, I wrote up a little bit of a break-even analysis for you to kind of give you a brighter picture of how this all works. So for this example, if this member selected the TAO, they would earn an additional $608 per month from age 55 to 62, which you guys saw on the previous couple slides. Now, we take that advancement of $608 throughout the 7 years. This person in this example is getting an advancement of $51,072 over the span of that 7 years from 55 to 62 by selecting the TAO. Now, at age 62, when we have to reduce your benefit by that $1,237, remember, that would start per month for the remainder of your lifetime. A lot of people think when they take the TAO, they originally kind of see that they're getting an advancement every month. They're like, oh, this is great. I'm getting all this money. And then at 62, when we reduce your benefit, some people don't realize that even though after we tell them, we reduce your benefit for the rest of your lifetime, and it's not the amount that we advanced you. It's that full estimate amount that you provided us. So in this example, then, so the TAO advancement amount of $51,072. What I did there is I divided that by the $1,237, which was the Social Security estimate, to kind of give me a break-even analysis here of a little over 41 months, or a little under 3.5 years. So basically, based off of the numbers that we have in this example, after about 42 months, you would have paid back the advance to you from FCERA. However, as I mentioned, just because we reduce your benefit and you've paid back the amount essentially that we've deducted from what we advanced you, it doesn't stop. That deduction is for the rest of your life. It will continue for the remainder of your lifetime. Now, this is actually a really interesting statistic here, is that last bullet point. If the member lives to be age 86, the member would have foregone $356,256 from 62 to 86 in benefits in order to receive that extra $51,000 a month for those 7 years from 55 to 62. So that's an eye-opening number, right? It's a very eye-opening number. Now, talking about these numbers, it may seem like, oh, wow, he's really painting this as a very bad thing. Well, the temporary annuity option is something that you have to decide if this is good for you, because it's not going to always benefit everybody. The temporary annuity option is not going to just benefit everybody in that aspect. Some people take it, others don't. So that leads me to my next slide of, should you take the TAO? So while we cannot, FCERA retirement specialists or myself, we cannot, anyone at FCERA cannot advise you to take the temporary annuity option. So you guys see the examples prior. So the best things that we can point out for what you need to look at is, so the first thing to think about is, it is your decision. So when you're looking at retiring and you pick out a date of retirement and you're under the age of 62, first couple things you need to look at is, hey, you need to kind of run some estimates of what your potential monthly benefit will look like at approximate dates that you're looking to retire. You could do so by using our FCERA member portal. That really helps. Using that portal will allow you to run estimates for certain dates of retirement, and it will have out all the different amounts that are available to you with the different options. Excuse me. Mouth's a little parched. Okay, so now that you see all your benefit numbers, your estimates and everything, then you got to kind of look at your finances as a whole. What is everything else looking like? Do you have savings? Do you have other investments? Do you have debt? You know, all these different things. So while you're looking at that stuff, a good key rule of thumb is, when you're looking at your estimated FCERA benefit plus your other income or investments, whatever, see if you can live with that balance or that money that you have right there without taking the TAO. If you can live with the amount that you're getting from FCERA plus your other income streams, you realistically do not need to consider the temporary annuity option. And that's just from my standpoint, my opinion, based off of numbers and statistics that I showed you guys on the last slide. Now, not to say that people don't take it. I mean, I'm making it sound like, this is a very bad thing. Don't take it. There are reasons why people take this because, sometimes people retire early because they have a life situation that they have to deal with, things like that. So they take the TAO and take the money up front, and some people I've been told in the past, they will worry about it when it gets to the age 62. Hey, that's your choice, but if you're planning ahead and you're looking at this stuff, this is probably one of the easiest ways to determine if you want to take that TAO. Because if you know already that your FCERA benefits plus your other income streams at retirement are going to be enough to live off of, then you do not need to consider this. Because taking that small advancement to take a full reduction at the rest of your life may not be the best idea. But like I mentioned, it's your decision. That we do have people that take it. I have seen people take it age 50. From my experience, I would say that when I used to be a retirement specialist, and when I retired members, I probably, out of the hundreds of members I retired, I would say I maybe had 10 people take the TAO throughout my career as a specialist. And I will say a majority of them were under the age of 55. I did have someone take the TAO at age 60. I warned that member saying that, hey, you're only getting 2 years of an advancement. It didn't matter to them. But, like I said, we can't make those decisions for you. We can't advise you what you should or should not do. That really comes down to you. All we can do is point this information to you, give you all the numbers for you to look at, and you can make a sound decision. So that's kind of the easiest way I can explain as far as when people ask, hey, should I take this? You got to look at your finances. The easiest way for me to explain that is look at what you're going to get from us monthly and plus your other income streams. That's enough to live off of. You don't need to consider the TAO. Okay, so this is actually going to be one of my shorter lunch and learns because the TAO is really just that. So after you kind of figure out that TAO stuff, choosing the best retirement date. So, when you're ready to retire and you're looking at stuff and you're trying to plan, well, choosing the best retirement date, it depends on you. There really is no quote unquote best retirement date. It really comes down to you. So how people determine their retirement dates, they look at a couple things. So they look at their age, because your age is one factor that we use to calculate your lifetime benefit. So keep in mind that every quarter year of age increases your benefit. So let's say, for example, age 50. If you go from age 50 to age 50 and a quarter, or 50 and a half, 50 and 3/4, your benefit's going to increase slightly because you get a little bit older. The second bullet point there that probably is one of the biggest driving factors for members that are in tiers 1 through 3 of choosing a retirement date is the cost of living adjustment. So if you are in an eligible tier 1 through 3, you're eligible for a cost of living adjustment every April of each year. The Board of Retirement can approve a cost of living adjustment up to a max of 3%. We usually don't know what that cost of living adjustment is going to be until about February. I would say the second board meeting of that month. But usually when we announce that cost of living, that's when we get calls in our office to schedule an appointment. That seems to determine when a lot of people want to retire, because they get that cost of living adjustment. Because whatever that percentage is for that year, it may be more beneficial to retire at the end of March rather than waiting until May or June. Another thing is anniversary dates. So anniversary dates is another reason people choose their retirement date as well. But like I mentioned on the previous slide with how to determine if you should take the TAO, use the member portal. The member portal allows you to run calculated estimates to see what your cost is or what your benefit amount is per month. And it breaks down the options for you. Tells you what your beneficiary is entitled to, things like that. It can help you make those decisions. Then when you hit that point, when you're ready to retire and you have a date chosen, call our office and schedule an appointment. So when you're scheduling that appointment, you need to just choose a retirement date first, and then you can call our office no earlier than 90 days prior to retirement. The retirement specialist will then contact you and schedule an appointment with you within 60 days of that retirement date that you choose, because by law, you cannot sign any retirement paperwork outside of that 60 days that you want to retire. Now, the specialist will also inform you if you need to bring any documents to the counseling session as well, such as like if we need a birth certificate from you, marriage certificate, things like that. So those are things to consider as well. One of the more popular questions that we get asked a lot is, hey, I just want to come in and talk to somebody because I want to start planning. I want to come in and talk to a specialist. Currently, right now, our specialists are only meeting with members that are signing retirement applications, but we're still here to help you. You can always call us, email us, and we'll be happy to help you with any questions that you have. You can always reach out to me as well. That's another reason why we're doing all these webinars as well, to kind of give you this more information at your fingertips to kind of get you more familiar with how all this stuff works. So just kind of keep that in mind when you want to make appointments. Upcoming webinars. Last week we had the benefit options webinar. Today we had the TAO webinar. My next one is going to be next month in September, which is a mid-career webinar. Unfortunately, this one is not going to be during the lunch hour because this one is a 2-hour webinar. So you will probably need to take annual leave for it, just a fair warning. But this mid-career webinar is something new that we started this year. This webinar is something that I constructed that I felt that we needed to help with retirement education. So what this webinar is, it's designed for members that are at least vested with 5 years of service and aren't retiring anytime soon, probably at least 10 years after retirement. This webinar is a good way to learn about the basics, things to look out for, things that you can do to plan for your retirement in the future. I will be sending out probably an announcement within the next day or so, I think tomorrow or so, but if you're interested in attending, you can always send us an email. You can contact me. I can put you on the list for that. And also as well, after these webinars, all of our webinars are posted on our YouTube channel. So you can actually look up Fresno County Retirement on YouTube. And we have our videos from our previous webinars on there as well that you can view. Okay, so finally, here's our contact information. If you have any questions for us, feel free to call our office, send us an email. Our office is open to drop off forms or anything like that. We are open back up to the public. We're open from 9 to 12 and 1 to 5. You can visit our website at FresnoCountyRetirement.org. And like I mentioned, if you have any questions, send an email at FCERA@FresnoCountyCA.gov, and we'll be able to help you with any inquiries that you have. Okay, so let's see, and I think, yep, that is it for the presentation. Wasn't really as long as last week's because it's mostly focused on the temporary annuity option, which is kind of like a shorter explanation. So I'm going to kind of get into some questions now if you guys have any questions. So let's see here. So I have one question here. So if you're planning on dying soon after retirement, it's a little morbid. The TAO makes sense. If you plan on living a long life, it's better not to take the TAO. Well, if so, theoretically, yes, I guess that's a good way of looking at that. If you were to pass away while under the age of 62 and taking the TAO, your beneficiary would not be responsible for that repayment. So I guess that's one way to look at it. But yes, if something were to happen, to you, then you would not be, your beneficiary would not be responsible for paying back the reduction of the TAO, because as I mentioned, the TAO is not affected for your beneficiary. I have that written on the slide here as well. Yes, does not affect your survivor continuance. So, I mean, I guess that's an interesting way of looking at it. I never really thought about looking at it that way, but yeah, I just tell people look at your benefit amount and your income level, and just see if you can make your payments and your expenses with the money that before considering that. But that's another way of looking at it. Let's see here. Do I have any other questions today? I know this is more of a specific topic, so you might not have a lot of questions, and that's totally understandable. If there's, I plan on doing more of these lunch and learns, and we're going to try to do more different topics in the future. So if there's other topics in later on that you guys may be interested in learning more about, feel free to email me, call me, let me know. I'm looking at potentially doing something about buybacks in the future, death benefits. Let's see, maybe disability or divorce, something like that. We're always looking to provide more information out there. So if there's any topics out there that you may be interested in, feel free to let me know. Let's see here. Make sure I didn't get any emails here about any questions, just to make sure. You never know. You never know. Okay. Sure, ask away. I got 19 minutes, so hey, ask away. And if that's it for as far as any more presenting. So if anybody here in the webinar doesn't have any questions or doesn't want to listen to any questions, you can absolutely take off. Thank you again for being here. I will be sending out a survey later on just to kind of give me feedback about it for improvements and things. So look out for that. Can you collect retirement and work elsewhere? So yes, you can. So you can collect retirement, so let's say your example, you're a county employee. So you can collect your retirement benefit from the county, from FCERA, and then go work in the private sector, or you can go work at like Costco or something, and it's not going to affect your pension. It will not affect your benefit. The TAO calculation is included in the member portal. It is not, unfortunately. The TAO calculation, because we don't have that, the actuarial factor changes all the time. We don't put that in the portal. So if you're really interested in seeing what that is, I would definitely call our office and speak to a specialist. They would be able to help you with that. But unfortunately, the member portal does not have the TAO calculations there. Thank you for doing these webinars, because I am learning versus feeling pressures to make decisions at the time of retirement. I'm slowly learning, and it helps. No problem. No problem. That's one of the biggest reasons I do these webinars, because as a former specialist, meeting with you guys, meeting with the members and stuff, one of the biggest things that I saw early on in my career as a specialist is that there was a lot of members that didn't have enough information or education. And, whether that's they did not do their research, or we didn't put enough information out there, like content and stuff. I think now with technology and everything, especially during this whole pandemic, webinars and stuff are becoming more popular. So I'm going to be trying to do this I love my position. I love my job. So I'm going to be constantly trying to put this information out there for you guys, because I want you guys to have all this information at your fingertips to help you make the best decisions for retirement. So what dates or months should we consider for retirement? So as I mentioned, it depends, because everybody's different. So you want to just look at a couple different things. So you want to look at, and maybe anniversary dates is one. One of the bigger factors is we do have a lot of people that retire in March or between that first quarter of the year, because if they fall under tiers 1 through 3, they're eligible for that COLA, that cost of living adjustment each year. So if the COLA comes out, like let's say 2022, our Board of Retirement approves a COLA of 2%. And someone is looking to retire either in March or in April or May, it may be more advantageous advantageous to retire in March and get that 2% cost of living, because that your benefit plus that 2% may be more than you maybe more than if you were to retire in April or May. So that's probably one of the biggest things, but it's mostly your decision. That's why utilizing the member portal to look at your benefit amounts is so key, because you can kind of see the differences there. But your maybe a birth date, anniversary dates, things like that. There are some people, they don't care about the COLA. They're just like, hey, I set out a goal. I want to work 25 years. I want to work 30 years. When I hit that, that's when I'm going to go. So that may be you, may not be, but that's another thing that people look at as well. Why is the Social Security benefit estimate only estimated? Why would it change when you retire? That is a fantastic question. I apologize, guys, for not mentioning that earlier. That's a fantastic question. So why is it only considered an estimate? Well, easy. So when you go to the Social Security office, when we say estimate, you need to make sure that you ask them a couple of questions when providing that estimate, because sometimes you can get an estimate on the website, but when you get an estimate on Social Security on the website, what does that estimate do? It's projecting you're paying into Social Security until you turn 62. Okay, follow me? So what happens if you retire at 55, like in that example, and you don't go back and you don't work for somebody else in the private sector or something where you're paying into Social Security? So if you're using that estimate at age 55 with projecting that you're paying into Social Security up until 62, then when you go in at age 62 and draw your benefit from Social Security, there's a chance it could be lower because it was projecting a higher estimate at that time because it was assuming that you were paying into Social Security from 55 to 62. So it's very important to actually get the estimate from somebody at the Social Security office instead of online. And it's got to make sure that you have to project it either way. You have to project it if you're for that estimate, if you're going to stop working and not contribute to Social Security from that age that you plan on retiring until 62 or not, because that's going to make a difference. Because like I mentioned, if your estimate was assuming that you were working up until 62, but you didn't work for 7 years and contribute, your Social Security benefit probably will be a little lower. Granted, I don't work at the Social Security office, so I couldn't tell you that, but that's in theory what would happen. So that's why it's super important to get your estimate from the office and make sure that the estimate is either including if you were contributing or not contributing during that time that you retired, because that could make or break your finances depending on how tight your budget is and things like that. So hopefully that answers your question. That was a fantastic question. I'm going to write that down so I make sure I put that in the PowerPoint for later on. Okay, so now I wrote that note in. Okay, so we got about 12 minutes left. If you have any other questions, please feel free to fire away. Like I mentioned, if you don't have any other questions, or you don't want to, stick around, you're more than free to leave. I just appreciate you guys coming into the webinar today and spending some time learning more about your retirement. But, it does. If you have any other questions, it doesn't necessarily have to be about the TAO. So, if you have any questions, feel free to fire away. We got about 12 minutes left. If I don't get anything probably in the next couple minutes, I may just end the webinar, but we'll see. We'll give you guys some time because I know it's a lot to think of a question off the top of your head, when you're trying to learn all this stuff. So let's see. So hopefully also as well, hopefully you guys found that very informational. I know it's not the easiest things to learn about, and it's not the most boring things or the most interesting stuff to learn about at times, but it is. I'm sorry, let me get that PowerPoint slide back up there. I was actually trying to fix something here, and I was going to give you guys more of a contact list. So let's see here. Okay, there's the contact list there. Okay. So it looks like I haven't got any other questions. So, we're going to end this one a little early here. So I want to thank you guys again for tuning into the webinar today. If you have any questions, feel free to send that email to FCERA@FresnoCountyCA.gov. You can always contact me, send me an email personally, give me a call. If I can't answer your question, I'll definitely forward it to a specialist, but I'm always there to give you guys the help in any way I can. Well, that's it. Well, here's the good thing about this. We're not going to stop this education stuff. So all this information will be out there for you, like on our YouTube channel, or we're going to be constantly doing webinars like this. So you'll probably see a webinar about the TAO every year, to be completely honest with you. I'm going to be doing webinars a lot about the same topics each year because even though it may be a refresher course for some people, there's a lot of people that don't know much about it. So, we want to make sure that you have access to that and, can make the best decisions as possible. So again, thank you guys all for being here. With that, I am going to just end the webinar for the day. Look out for more information about our mid-career webinar and other things like that. Other than that, thank you guys for being here this afternoon. Enjoy the rest of your lunch. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us. We're happy to help. Thank you so much. Have a great rest of the day.